Your weekend starts now. Match week 4 kicks off in the Big Apple as Toronto FC makes the trip across the border down to Queens to take on the Pigeons of NYC FC. Welcome inside Belson Stadium alongside our broadcast team. I'm Jake Griffith, glad to have you alongside us. NYC FC in search of their first win of the season, coming on the heels of a 1-1 spirited draw against their Hudson River Derby opponents, Red Bull New York 2. This coaching staff for NYC FC, they felt like it was a much improved performance. Toronto FC looking for their first win of the season, losing at the last moment against Columbus Crew 2. As we take a look at our starting 11, first for NYC FC and manager Matt Pilkington going with a 4-3-3. Sebastiano Musu, their number 81, the center forward, will have to shoulder a lot of the attacking load. One of the changes in this 11, no Seymour Reed, who has the only goal of the season for this Pigeon side. Musu, a season ago, 6 goals, 7 assists now in his second season with NYCFC. He's such a creative player, starred at Manhattan collegiately, 18 goal contributions. He can really get going. They're going to rely on him today to help breathe some new life into this offense that scored just 1 goal so far in 2026. As for Toronto FC 2, they go with a 4-4-2 under acting manager Marco Castellanova, looking at 5 changes in this 11 for this young red squad, going with that back 4 as Raekwon Campbell-Dennis, the Jamaica U20 national team call-up, 65 on the right side of that back line. He will anchor things for this Toronto FC 2 lineup that look to shore things up defensively. They've already given up 4 goals in 2026. Toronto FC coming off of that 3-2 loss against Columbus Crew 2. This coaching staff earlier in the midweek said they felt like they took some big strides in terms of the positives, but also took a few steps back as well. This is a refreshed Toronto FC 2 side. Some significant departures in the offseason, including a new face in goal as well this year as Adisa de Rosario heading on out. Mark Fisher, who was such a strong part of this lineup, not with Toronto FC 2 in 2026 as well. So a refreshed Toronto FC 2 side, still trying to put the pieces together early on in 2026. Also trying to put the pieces together here on the road against this NYC FC 2 squad. The Young Reds looking for their first outright victory on the road against NYC FC 2, dating all the way back to the inaugural MLS Next Pro campaign. They have gone to penalties twice in that span, but winless in 6 straight overall away. They did win the most recent matchup, though, a 3-0 resounding victory. That came back in August of 2025. Just about set for kick between NYCFC and Toronto FC to kick off a new match week, a busy match week, that is in MLS Next Pro. For this NYCFC 2 side, Matt Pilkington looking at a similar situation as Toronto FC, a refreshed lineup. They add players like Nick Cavallo, the homegrown signing in the offseason after being drafted out of UCLA. They bring players like a Seymour Reed back, the aforementioned Sebastiano Musu, although they surely would love to have the services of such a dynamic player like Seymour Reed. Matt Pilkington, he said that earlier this week that the training environment for NYC FC 2, they have a really solid group, and he feels like that has powered them to a strong start to 2026. It was a draw against Columbus Crew 2 in the season opener, followed up by that 1-1 draw, a scoreless draw against Columbus Crew 2, followed up by the 1-1 draw against Red Bull New York 2 last match week. The whistle sounds and we are underway as Gary Gutierrez, our center referee, gets things going. It's Toronto FC in the white, NYC FC in the navy blue. Early on, it will be NYCFC with the quick throw in. It's Drew Kerr, former Duke Blue Devil, who was drafted 2 super drafts ago by this organization before returning to college, throws it back in. Now it's flung forward. That is where Reed Fisher, the 20-year-old Californian, will track things back and steer this over to Zakaria Nuckley. 4th consecutive start to the campaign for Nuckley in goal. 15 saves already in his first year. As Richard Chukwut, the Ontario native, puts a left boot into that one, and NYCFC 2 will reset things. Back to Mac Learned, the former Sacramento State goalkeeper. 24 years old, the California native, making his 2nd start of 2026. Toronto FC trying to tightrope that touchline. Dispossessed by Camila Ponsa. And there is a whistle from Gary Gutierrez, our first of the afternoon. Play quickly back underway. You see 65 there in white and red there at the bottom of your screen. Raekwon Campbell-Dennis, the 17-year-old out of the Toronto FC Academy. One of 2 Toronto FC players called up to the Jamaican U20 national team earlier this year. We're going to try to push Campbell-Dennis high into that attack. Looking for the fullbacks to try to help unlock things offensively for Toronto FC. Nodded out. And it will be a Toronto FC throw-in over on that far touchline. They open their season with a loss against Philadelphia Union 2, a loss last match week, sandwiched in between a draw against New England Revolution 2. His coaching staff this week, specifically Armand Momadi, the assistant coach for Toronto FC 2, who I had a chance to catch up with earlier in the week, he did emphasize that it is still a young team for Toronto FC. They are still figuring out identity-wise who they are, who they want to be. That does take time, especially at this level of soccer. MLS Next Pro, a league where there's always so much turnover and change in the offseason. You have players moving up to the first team. You have players moving on to other ventures in their career. These are sentiments that any coach you talk to around the league, they will echo. I had a chance to catch up with Chattanooga FC and their coaching staff earlier today, and they said the same thing about Chattanooga. They're still figuring out. It takes a couple weeks to find that identity and find who you want to be. A season ago, Toronto FC just narrowly missing the playoffs. 3rd straight season that has occurred. They're trying to find their way back into MLS Next Pro playoff contention in 2026. They were close last year. They also played in a lot of close games in 2025. 21 matches decided by a goal or fewer. Steered back to Learned, pressing high though, and some issues here at the back for Toronto. Learned has to come out and clean that up, and successfully does. Aceto trying to turn that one upfield on the near touchline. A look back at this. High press from Toronto FC, very nearly winning that ball back. And quite the spot. Good reaction time there from Mac Learned. Things reset back to Reed Fisher. It's been 2 seasons at San Diego State collegiately, was ultimately drafted by this Toronto FC organization in 2025, the 23rd overall pick. Worked up ahead. There's Campbell Dennis. Mentioned him a minute ago, pushing high into the attack, and he successfully does. Jamari Nolan now across the face of goal. Young Reds couldn't get a touch on that one. And now Cooper Flax weaving in and out of traffic. Gives it up to Molinari. On that end line, Toronto arguing it should be a corner. Instead, it's a goal kick. And NYCFC 2. Bend but don't break on that trip down the pitch for Toronto FC. One thing Matt Pilkington looking for from the Pigeons of NYCFC 2 this afternoon, he wants to see them control the game more. We have seen some flashes already, some good spells of possession for Toronto FC, as here comes Cooper Flax looking to roll it in behind to Musu now. Musu on the left, his centering pass deflected away and headed along. Fortier able to get ahead to it, and now racing forward is DeMar Dixon. He's a player that this Toronto FC 2 coaching staff, they lauded his performances so far earlier this week when we caught up. 241 minutes played already. They find it over to Chukwu. Good link up there. Fortier slides it back inside. Trying to find a teammate at the top of the area, unsuccessful there, and now Musu will survey his options. Quickly turned over though, countering is Toronto FC. It's developing quickly, and just as quickly canceled out via the interception. Cooper Flax, 27 in Navy, he elected to give it up. Now here's Max Murray, former Vermont Catamount, 2-time All-America East selection collegiately, won a national title with Rob Dow and the Catamounts. 21 appearances last season on that back line for Max Murray on this NYCFC 2 team. They think, this coaching staff does, that he's made massive strides, especially in his leadership capabilities. That is the area that Matt Pilkington highlighted earlier this week. Murray last year and this year training with the first team in preseason. Last year spent significant time with that first team at the Coachella Valley Invitational out in Indio, California. And Pilkington said big reason why Max Murray has been able to develop so well is that time spent with the first team. So we have a whistle here. It's Reed Fisher taken down. Speaking of Vermont, Reed Fisher, he's very familiar with the state of Vermont. Former Vermont Green defender of the USL League 2. Just saw Vermont Green earlier this week in the US Open Cup, America's oldest competition, take down professional side Portland Hearts of Pine out of USL League 1. Chukwu had it, but had to give it up. Some issues here for Toronto FC playing out of the back. We saw early on, NYCFC 2, the near early giveaway. Clearance intercepted. It's Kevin Pierre able to take it away. Now worked back forward in the vicinity of Flax, headed out, and it will be a corner for NYCFC 2. 8th corner of the season coming up, first of the day. Last year it was 4 corner goals scored for Matt Pilkington's bunch. Musu, low, driven in toward the near post and dealt with easily by Toronto FC 2. Pigeons moving quickly with it here at Belson Stadium on the campus of St. John's University. Tossed back in, and now Molinari with it. Molinari, another in a long list of homegrown signings for the club on this NYCFC 2 roster. Did earn a short-term call-up to the first team last season, but has yet to make his official breakthrough in competitive action. 71 there in the center of your screen for NYCFC 2. Here is Mac Learned again. Kept a clean sheet last year, almost 50 saves with NYCFC 2 during the 2025 season. Musu is tripped up, and that will draw a whistle. Drew Kerr tripped up by DeMar Dixon, the Ontario native. And it will be a free kick. Kerr restarting play, plays it back to Acito, to Duke Blue Devils there connecting. Long pass over the top, in behind. Whiffing around at that one and unable to get a play on it. Now the cutback in front, and it rolls past the feet of Joe Sacchecki. Look at it again. Defender struggled corralling that one in. That was Campbell Dennis. And then right back in front. The former Northwestern Wildcat couldn't put a touch on that one. Surely would have been the breakthrough for NYCFC 2. Nonetheless, we stay scoreless. Back on it again, though. Here is NYCFC. Left off to Ponsa. Good leave off. Molinari will send that one into the seats, and out it goes. Matt Pilkington wanted to see his team possess the ball a little bit more, emphasizing some of those good actions and combinations in and around the area, trying to create more chances, all things that he identified as keys to the match this week against this young red side of Toronto FC 2. As this match is carried on, as we close in on the 15th minute, NYCFC, those actions are starting to get a bit more dangerous. They're starting to find some of those link-ups. They're starting to sit in on the ball a little bit more. Here's Toronto FC 2, though. Racing forward, trying to track it down was Dixon, and just muscled off the ball. How about that defense from the 21-year-old Cameron Acito? Camilo Ponsa, former Wake Forest and Boston College man collegiately, dancing through defenders, quite literally. He went down to ground, trying to make a play at that ball, and instead crashed into DeMar Dixon. That will be a yellow card handed out. First booking of the afternoon from Gary Gutierrez. Camilo Ponsa going into the book for this challenge here, trying to get to that ball after coughing it up, crashing into the ankle of DeMar Dixon and sending him down to the turf. But physicality can go both ways. And that just a textbook challenge there. Able to keep the possession for NYCFC too. Cameron Acito, former ACC Freshman of the Year. Good ball worked ahead, trying to find Musu. What a job there on the move to pull that one in. This from distance. That was whistling high. Great individual effort here from Sebastiano Musu. That's part of that vision, that chance creation that he brings to this team. The ability to turn on that ball and just roll it. Over to Sachecki. Toronto FC too, they showed some flashes early on in the first 2 to 3 minutes. Their ability to hold on to the ball, but that has all but dissipated at this point. This has been a first half that's turned into an NYCFC2 dictated track meet. Up and down the Pigeons go. Seeking Sachecki in behind, and that just out of his reach. This portion of the match is brought to you by St. John's University, the official undergraduate partner of New York City FC2. Great stadium here on the campus of St. John's in Queens. Dangerous pass at the back, and it's turned over here. Pierre jumping in front, given up from Flax to Molinari, inside to Sachecki. Out comes Knuckley, able to influence that one, and it will be a goal kick. Toronto FC just a bit casual here, crumbling under the weight of this heavy press of NYCFC2. And if you're Joe Sachecki, you have to finish that. A real excellent job by Knuckley to come out, make himself big. That's what coaches tell keepers to do. And you see exactly why. Flax tried to turn on that ball, instead turned into the face of pressure. And now here's Raquan Campbell-Dennis. He and Cooper Flax going at it. Nifty work there on the near touchline, able to keep it in and combine. Pigeons can't hang on to it though, and now here's Reed Fisher. We'll safely play this over to Knuckley. Telegraphed pass, intercepted. NYCFC2, one of the reasons that they've turned the tempo of this contest these last 10 minutes, it's been that midfield. But now here comes Toronto FC2 through the midfield. Left off for Jackson Gilman, former Pitt Panther, 36th rather overall pick in the 2025 Super Draft by this Toronto organization. But his time in MLS and MLS Next Pro predates that. 8 career Next Pro appearances for the former Philadelphia Union Academy man back during that inaugural 2022 rather, MLS Next Pro campaign. Here's DeMar Dixon again on the right. He'll slide this inside. Campbell-Dennis trying to play it in behind. Able to track that one down, at least for a moment, was Kervon Kerr, the 17-year-old. But couldn't corral that ball in. Right idea here for Toronto FC. Having some success playing through the lines of New York City Football Club. Learned will distribute this one to the left. Not headed out by the Young Reds. And the Pigeons will have the throw in, courtesy of Drew Kerr. Kerr, 81st overall pick back in 2024 by NYCFC. Opted to return to college for his 2025 season. Ended up finishing his college career with 21 assists, 27 goal contributions in total during his time with the Duke Blue Devils. A poor giveaway here by NYCFC. Dixon coughed it back up. But the Pigeons having some struggles now playing out of their back end. Campbell Dennis tripped up by Musu from behind and restarted off the free kick quickly. Over the top, racing in behind is DeMar Dixon. One-on-one there with the defender in Kerr. He steps inside on him. His cutback, though, left a bit to be desired. $75 in white there for Toronto FC. Reed Fisher. Go back to last season, an important part of this Toronto FC back line. Here's a good ball over the top. Learned was off his line. Now left off. This one struck toward Learned by Jamari Nolan and stopped by Mac Learned. This is what Reed Fisher brings from that back line. His ability to break lines, utilizing that long passing, setting Toronto FC2 up with their first chance of the afternoon. Players like Reed Fisher for Toronto FC2, who were a day one starter since arriving to the club. This Young Reds coaching staff, helmed by manager Gianni Cimini, who is not on the touchlines today. They're going to rely on players like Fisher, especially as they try to get more and more of these young players, these new acquisitions, up to speed with how the MLS and MLS Next Pro games are played. Even players that have good experience at the collegiate level, a lot of these coaches are on MLS Next Pro, they'll tell you it does take some time for even them to get adjusted. You go from playing a college campaign where it's essentially a sprint to the finish. You're cramming a ton of games into such a short amount of time. And then you come to the professional level and you're playing a lot more games. It's a bit more spread out, but you're having to learn how to have professional fitness, how to take care of your body, how to train on a different calendar. Longevity of a professional calendar takes a toll, even on guys that have played 3,000, 4,000 minutes at the collegiate level. Moving quickly now is Toronto FC2. Edge of the area, now cut back to the side, off the post, and it's in! The Young Reds with the first bite of the apple in New York. Fletcher Bank opens his account. 1-0 Toronto FC. The visitors just catching NYCFC flat-footed, moving quickly on that throw in. And that is a beautiful finish for the former Stanford Cardinal. Swapping his Stanford red for Toronto FC red, and still producing at the same level. Momentum has shifted squarely in the favor of the visitors from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. They withstood a bit of a barrage from NYCFC to the tune of 3 shots, but none of them finding their way on the target. And now suddenly, this Toronto FC 2 team in control of this match. While NYCFC 2, they've had some good combinations, especially down that right-hand side, that strong side of the attack. Just haven't been able to put one on the target. Our venture into the final third fizzles out again, and the Pigeons will reset things as we come up on the half-hour mark played here in Queens. Flax will turn away from the pressure. Former NYCFC Academy man until the 2021 season before he joined Wake Forest and their head coach Bobby Muse, a program that churns out professional men's soccer players like it's their job essentially. 16 super draft picks for Wake Forest Demon Deacons under Bobby Muse. Flax signed as a homegrown in the offseason by NYCFC. This portion of the match is brought to you by Adidas, the official kit supplier for New York City FC2. Kits for NYCFC2, very spiffy. Over the last few years, they've really leaned into both the first and second team. They've really leaned into that alternate identity as the Pigeons. First team rolling out the kits over the last MLS match week with the orange socks simulating the feet of a Pigeon. This one up ahead to Bank. He's got one today. Now Nolan, what a save! Learned coughed up the rebound and it won't matter. Initially cleared away by NYCFC. Toronto goes back to the well. Pigeons just can't clear it. Now look at it again. This is Nolan. The good setup out wide to Fletcher Bank. The cut back inside. That's just a defensive breakdown. You have to have a body on Jamari Nolan, letting him streak toward goal. NYCFC fortunate to not be down 2-0. It'll stay here though, as Toronto FC will have a corner. Jackson Gilman will take this. Gilman, his service into the mixer. Glancing header away, falls in front, deflected out wide. Now Gilman, second ball served in. Young Reds whiffing away at it. And NYCFC 2 looking to break out from their own end. Good switch over to Musu. Musu can't hang on to it though. And that's more ground covered there by Reed Fisher. Highlighted him earlier in this broadcast for a reason. Another opportunity. It was Fisher who fired that one through. And then this second ball, coaches will tell you, it's the most dangerous one to deal with on a set piece. NYCFC 2 dealing with it well that time though. Max Murray thought about the throw, and instead, the Pigeons will toss it in to Max Murray. ahead now. Comes NYC FC 2. They'll lay it off over to Camilo Ponce, but the offside flag is up. A half hour in, it's Toronto FC 2. A 24th minute goal, courtesy of Fletcher Bank. And that is the difference maker so far. Zakaria Knuckley boots that one away and play back underway. Fisher looking to turn this back toward Knuckley. And they run through the back of Reed Fisher. That will draw a whistle from Gary Gutierrez, and now some pushing and shoving here. Toronto FC 2 taking real exception to that from Sebastiano Musu. More importantly though, Reed Fisher, he's down in a heap still on this turf surface. Keep an eye right here on the left side of your screen, and you see Musu going right toward Fisher, making contact with Fisher's back turn. Sebastiano Musu fortunate there to not go into the book of Gary Gutierrez. Seen a lot of physicality so far in this opening 45 minutes. That arguably the most physical play we've seen. Reed Fisher is back to his feet. He will take this free kick to get things back going. Another good ball over the top. That'll find Bank again on the left. Bank trying to shuffle past one defender, now steps inside. Toronto, we're looking for options. Laid back off to Gilman now. Defended tightly by Pierre. Slid centrally. It's back to Fletcher Bank. Wanted to play it back down low, and instead Mac Learned will come out, cut that one off. Solid job there by Toronto FC 2 to keep that one on that far touchline. Helped back along here by the Young Reds. Flax now. Late arriving run down this left-hand channel. They find Drew Kerr. Now Drew Kerr unable to just get past that final defender. And Raekwon Campbell-Dennis, who lets that one roll out, and it will be a goal kick. This portion of the match is brought to you by Etihad Airways, the official airline partner of New York City FC 2. Also the naming rights partner of the soon-to-be new home of NYC FC in New York. Etihad Stadium, club posting videos from the construction site on social media earlier this week. And look, I'm just a broadcaster. I'm not an architect, but I will tell you, whoever they hired did a really good job from what we've seen. Very exciting times in the Big Apple. Glancing header along from Fletcher Bank, his 24th minute goal, the only one scored so far. It's one of just 2 shots on target for Toronto FC in this first half to this juncture. They've done a really quality job in this first half of not just being purposeful in their possession, but they're moving the ball around with some real intentionality when they get into this end of things. As I say that, they turn it over. Good move there on the near side. DeMar Dixon able to spring Toronto FC free. Now hesitates. What a combination. Back to Dixon, trying to muscle his way through. Unable to do so. He's pleading for a whistle as well. This is one of the reasons that this coaching staff is so excited about having DeMar Dixon. That's just an exceptional give back there from Kevon Kerr. DeMar Dixon coming over on the loan. French side, rather Italian side. Frosinone and Serie did appear in the Italian Cup with Frosinone. For the switch over to Kerr again, whiffing on that one. And Fisher and Toronto FC2 will have the throw in. Nolan. Offside flag will come up as he cut that inside to Kevon Kerr. Pierre dispossessed. Now here's Gilman. Over to Bank, trying to connect back to Gilman. Well read that time by the defense of NYCFC2, but they've had a bit too much of that right there in this opening half. They just have not been able to consistently connect enough passes to put pressure on Toronto FC2. They do have 56% possession in this opening 45 minutes, but of their 180 passes completed, 120 of them have been in their own half of things. Yet to, as we have a whistle from Gary Gutierrez, they've yet to achieve that goal that Matt Pilkington had set out this week of holding on to the ball, but also being more purposeful with it. Ponsa comes up with the interception now. Pushing forward are the Pigeons. Musu, his path blocked out. Roll along there from Knuckley, trying to jumpstart things for Toronto FC. Chukwu. Thumped all the way back down there by Kevin Pierre, and that forces an emergency clearance. Toronto FC2 and Campbell Dennis. Kerr, the former North Carolina FC Academy man, throws it back in, and now here's Flax. So Checky going to ground, winning that back for NYCFC2. Flax will roll it ahead. Here's Pierre now, out wide, wanted Musu, was out of his reach. Camilo Ponsa able to straddle the stripe there. However, he commits the foul, and the opportunity will dissipate once more for NYCFC2. The Pigeons, they have struggled somewhat in this first half when Toronto FC are able to shift into their mid-block. The narrowness of it is causing a lot of congestion through the middle part of the pitch, and that is an area that, while NYCFC too do like to get down the flanks, run up and down, they also want to try to combine and create using the middle areas. Pigeons struggling to clear their lines now. Bank will shovel that one over to Gilman. Fletcher Bank will get it back. Fortier on the turn. His pass cut out initially, corralled in by Kevin Pierre. And now joining the attack here is Drew Kerr. Plenty of space to move here for Kerr. Kerr wants the cross. He'll flash it across the face. Now Flax on the far side. Not many options here. Sachecki had it for a moment. Max Murray will cut that one off. Fletcher Bank was sniffing around, and it's steered over to Mac Learned, who sets things back up for the Pigeons. Molinari now. Flax on the turn. Still Flax, flanked with support. Sikowski's effort. Rather Sachecki. Young Reds looking for the switch here to the near side. They find it to DeMar Dixon. Dixon, such great footwork. He's a player that the coaching staff for Toronto FC2 talked about in the midweek. They really feel like he transforms the profile of Toronto's attack this season. You've already seen his goal-scoring capabilities on display to the tune of one of only 2 goals scored coming into this fixture for Toronto FC. But you see him out there, 93 in white. He's a big body as well, has great footwork for a guy his size. Closing in on the final minute plus added time of this opening 45 as Musu fights through one challenge. The advantage played. Molinari rolls it ahead. Now Flax. This is Musu thumped up ahead. Pierre tries to poke it past Knuckley and just cannot. This is more of what Matt Pilkington and his Pigeons coaching staff looking for. That, an excellent combination using those central channels. They just have not had any success solving the complex riddle that is Zakaria Knuckley so far. And there is Knuckley again, who will corral that ball in. Turned out a play by Campbell Dennis. Had no choice. Had multiple NYCFC2 players breathing down his neck. And now NYCFC will have the throw. Players in long sleeves. You see guys with gloves on. Players over on the far touchlines in beanies and jackets. It's a brisk 38 degrees in Queens today. Beautiful soccer weather, of course. Just 1 minute. of added time at the end of this first 45. As Fisher will fling this one back ahead. That man, the only goal scorer of note in this first half, Fletcher Bank. Now here he comes again. Bank has options all around, tight along the end line, puts it toward goal, it trickles in! Mere seconds before the halftime whistle, Toronto FC double their lead, thanks to Kerr. We've seen Fletcher Bank do it in the goal scoring category, but how about this on the setup? I mean, that is just excellent there. That's the third time Toronto FC too have had a man unmarked in the penalty area. They scored once off of it, and now they score a second time. Kerr getting his first goal of the season. Toronto FC2 coaching staff this week, they acknowledged it was going to take some time to find that offensive rhythm, find that timing. It's early in the year. They knew that once they got things clicking on all cylinders, they had real quality in their attack, and they are starting to click here in this match. NYCFC2 looking for a response just before the whistle. Once again cleared away. Back at it, here's Flax. The telegraph pass intercepted by the Young Reds. And there is the halftime whistle from Gary Gutierrez. 2 goals from 2 different goal scorers, just about 20 minutes apart. It's broken things open in Queens in favor of the visitors from Ontario. 2-0 Toronto FC at the half. Coming up at halftime, the rumors are true. Danny Rojas from the Ted Lasso Show has been in camp. Plus, the pathway's not restricted to players, as some assistant and head coaches have made their way up the coaching tree within MLS clubs. All that and more as we start the halftime show after a short break.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Oh my! Pedrinho wins it!
Our halftime score from Queens, 2-0, Toronto FC lead. There have been a number of coaches who have started with the youth to the MLS Next Pro sides and are now assistant and even head coaches in MLS. Let's meet a player who had a decision to make after his career between the lines and decided to give it back as a coach. We head to North Texas and chat with Matt Hedges.
Very excited to be here officially. I helped out a little bit last year. I really enjoyed my time working with the players, working with the staff. So I'm glad to be able to be on the staff full time and be involved. Towards the end of my career, I started thinking about what I wanted to do, post playing, and coaching was something that, for a while, I didn't know if I wanted to do it. When my kids started to get a little bit older, and I started doing it with them, I started enjoying it, and I thought, I had a lot of knowledge that I could pass down to, young players. That was kind of an easy decision after thinking about it. There's lots of different things that I can teach them from my career, but also, the mentality. The intensity, the winning mentality is what I want to bring to the young guys, because they're going to need that. I played at a high-level college, and I was still like a little bit overwhelmed when I first got here, and it's the adaptation. If you don't do it quick at that time, then you were kind of out of the system. But now I think, especially with the academy and bringing those guys up and then moving into a environment like MLS Next Pro with North Texas, then I think it's a big jump in the quality of everything that is involved with this, and I think it's huge for developing players. I think there used to be a lot of guys who kind of got pushed out of the system if it wasn't working right away, but now those guys maybe get a second chance and can develop into good players. Yeah, it feels good. I mean, it feels like home. Like you said, I've been here for a long time. I know a lot of people here. I knew John beforehand. I knew a lot of the other staff beforehand, and even some of the players I still know. So it's just nice to be back in a familiar environment and be able to give these players my knowledge. This year, I think my goal is to improve our defensive solidarity. Obviously, I want to try to improve individually the players in the defensive line, help them improve their tendencies. But, as a unit, I want our group to be solid and to give up less goals. That's always the goal. And for me, that was like my big thing as a player throughout my career. I always wanted to give up less goals, and I think that's something I want to pass on to these defensive players.
Welcome back. 2-0 in favor of the visitors from Canada. It's not an act. One of your favorite Ted Lasso actors did make an appearance in a camp and can, in fact, play. We tracked him down to talk about the experience with Chicago Fire.
Hola, hola. This is Cristo Fernandez, and we're here at the new facilities in Chicago Fire. Very happy and grateful to be here. I know I've been doing more acting and filmmaking these last couple of years. I would have never imagined how life was gonna turn for me. Never imagined that with my new dreams of film and acting, football, soccer was gonna be the thing that was gonna open them for me. I say this because I've always missed football, soccer. That's my first love. The level is very intense, young upcoming players, so lots of potential in this club. I can say that this is world-class level. I played professionally back home in Guadalajara. We didn't have this level of world-class facilities. I think the club is doing something great for both the city, the team, the players. It's a dream come true for anyone to be here, so for me it's also a dream come true to be here now, and I am grateful for the opportunity. What has surprised me is the level of the team. I've seen both the first team, the second team, the players, they're doing something great. And what surprised me as well is the quality of the people, very nice people. And that also says a lot about the club, and I think that's very important. It's been really nice getting back to the field, training, and really giving my best and believing I still can play this professionally, and we'll see where the dream takes us. But it's been really nice.
Such a fun story out in Chicago. As halftime continues, let's reintroduce our newest club in 2026, CT United.
This is Connecticut's newest club, built for the entire state, not just one city.
Connecticut's pretty culturally diverse state. Doesn't really have one major city. There's a bunch of small cities that are pretty close to each other.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage the founding partner of Connecticut Sports Group, Mr. Andre Swanston.
I remember feeling like, okay, it's on now, because talk is cheap. A lot of people say, oh, I'm gonna own the team, and da-da-da. You hear that all day, every day, everywhere. And so it kind of, it was late 2023 when kind of everything went through. We knew it was approved and it was going to happen. And it was just kind of, Michelle and I were like, all right, okay, it's on now, like, let's go.
I want to thank all of you who have made today possible and who worked tirelessly behind the scenes to bring these ideas to life, including the entire team from the Connecticut Sports Group.
Before the first professional match, the foundation was already in motion. In 2024, CT United launched its professional academy.
We started our academy first because we wanted to, one, make CT United tangible to the community and so they could see it, touch it, feel it, that we're here.
One of my first conversations with Andre and Michelle, when I met with them and we started discussing, their vision and what they wanted for their football team in the state of Connecticut, the ambitions, they're breaking down the barriers for giving kids opportunities to play in the academy. Once you have that idea, then I think it becomes pretty clear in terms of now bringing in the right people in your staff and to start to identify the right type of players you want to come in.
It starts in MLS Next, and it continues in MLS Next Pro.
I think we're headed in the right direction. We have a good group of guys. Coaching staff is alive and ready. And I think we're just pushing towards, the start of the season and looking to have a good season.
We knew that we wanted a team that was entertaining. We wanted a team that was going to dominate with the ball and against the ball. A team that looked to play forward, a team that is aggressive.
They're entertaining players, man. I mean, I'm really excited being in the league for 4 years and seeing the group that we're gathering together makes me happy.
What the ownership and the sporting director laid out to me, we had a couple of calls before I decided to join the team. It was very ambitious. I like what they have planned for the team, and I like the future, and I want to be part of this project. We have a lot of young players, so I know we're going to be very energetic. We're all here to learn, to get better, and when you're young, your brain is like a sponge.
So, here's the standard.
Connecticut is used to winning. We've got to show them like we're playing for real, like we're not messing around. And then also I think with being the only black owner in the league, like I'm not losing, right? Like I refuse to make it seem like I can't build something that can compete on the level.
Back in Queens, it's halftime between Toronto FC 2 and NYC FC 2. It's 2 goals for the Young Reds, and they lead it 2-0 through 45 minutes of play. This is our only match of this Thursday afternoon, but let's look ahead and catch you up as well on last week's scores. Some great action, especially in the Eastern Conference. Atlanta United, too, picking up a big win over Huntsville City, who are trying to right the ship, just 1 win in their first 3 fixtures. How about Crown Legacy? Is there any team right now in MLS Next Pro that is hotter than Crown Legacy? The numbers say no. They lead the Eastern Conference right now, 9 points. The goals scored is the biggest story, though, for Crown Legacy. 14 goals already. They put up 7 a couple matches ago against Huntsville City. Already a plus 11 goal difference on the season for Crown Legacy. Back to their winning ways in 2026 are Crown Legacy, who missed the playoffs in 2025. Those are last week's scores, and now we look ahead to our upcoming schedule, and there is a juicy slate of games on the docket in MLS Next Pro. It'll all kick back off on Saturday. Columbus Crew 2, FC Cincinnati 2. They call it Hell is Real at the MLS level. Arguably the best derby name for an MLS Next Pro derby. Heck is plausible. That will start things off. The night will end with Huntsville City and Chattanooga FC, the Tennessee River Derby. And then Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 Western Conference foes in St. Louis City 2 and LAFC 2 will square off. As for our match, let's get you caught up to speed with our first half highlights. And there were a lot of highlights for Toronto FC 2 and also for NYC FC 2, who had plenty of opportunities to find that elusive breakthrough. Here's Joe Sacchecki on the doorstep. Couldn't finish, though. 1 save in the first half for Zakaria Knuckley, and then Toronto FC 2 would come down, and this would break things open. Rifled in there from Fletcher Bank, his first as a professional. Account opened, and doing so in spectacular fashion. That in the 24th minute. Then they'd come back down. This one thumped over the top. The cut back inside. Deflected away by Mac Learned on a fantastic effort there from Jamari Nolan. Then Fletcher Bank again. You'll notice a theme here for Toronto FC. It starts with Fletcher Bank setting things up, this time walking the inline, tucking it back inside. The 17-year-old Curvon Kerr slotting it home, and that made it 2-0 as that is where things stand through 45 minutes of play. We take a look at our stats from the opening 45 minutes, and that 0 in the shots on target category for NYCFC, something that they are going to look to clean up in half number 2. Just couldn't put any chances on target, and they're going to need to do that in half number 2 if they want to get back into this contest. We'll head back to break. Second half kick when we return to Belson Stadium. Toronto FC leads it 2-0.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Oh my! Pedrinho wins it!
Yeah, boys hear sentiment, flow tastes sweet like cinnamon. Open up doors, I'm a gentleman. View top floor, I'm still sticking ahead of them. Running on fumes and adrenaline. Do what I do best, can't rush in like a roulette. You can't name a better duet. Don't ask questions, trying to figure out what sound. Don't worry about what next. Just wanna know what's next. Man, I say it so loud. Don't worry about what next. Just know we got now. Oh yes, man, I say it oh so proud. Don't worry about what next. Just know we got now.
Both teams on the pitch and out of the halftime dressing room as we approach the second half whistle in Queens between Toronto FC and NYCFC. Jake Griffith, along with our broadcast team, glad to have you with us. It was an eventful first 45 minutes for the visitors from Ontario, Canada. 2 goals, 22 minutes apart. And they've put some separation between themselves and the home side, NYCFC 2, who finished the opening half with 0 shots on target. NYCFC looking for their first win of the season, as is Toronto FC, who are playing their 4th consecutive away fixture to open 2026. Gary Gutierrez sounds the whistle, and we are officially underway for half number 2 in Queens. 2 changes for NYCFC 2 at the half. Luka Sunic will come on, and the academy wing forward Henrik Vadum will come on as well. Issues here playing out of the defensive half for Toronto FC. NYCFC try to take advantage. Belson Stadium on the campus of St. John's University here in Queens, our site. On the move is Toronto FC, and quickly that opportunity dissolving as it sits at the feet of Mac Learned. Temperature has warmed up just a tad bit, about a 3-degree increase since the opening kick. Learned goes ahead with it. Cito was trying to wrangle that ball back in. Unsuccessful there. As mentioned, Toronto FC playing their 4th consecutive road fixture. And this coaching staff of the Young Reds this week, they acknowledge that, look, you try to keep it as business as usual, but it just becomes very difficult of a task when you have to play 4 consecutive on the road. And now Toronto, the difficult task of defending here on the move. This cut inside, what a setup, top of the area. Vadim got a piece of it. Now turning is Cooper Flax and turns right into Jackson Gilman, who comes up with the takeaway. Nearly returning the favor on Toronto FC is New York Football Club. Arguably, one of the more impressive things we saw from Toronto FC in that first half was their calmness under pressure. They're under pressure again. Stepping back inside now are the Pigeons. Swung inside, Musu hacking away at it. Headed back along by Kevin Pierre. Drew Kerr unable to get to that one. And Toronto FC, despite a couple of giveaways in the defensive half, come away unscathed. Going back to the Young Reds, though, in their 4 consecutive away fixtures. Arman Mohammadi, their assistant coach who I spoke with earlier this week, he did take a more positive outlook on it. He said that, you know, on the bright side, it does give a team that's filled with a lot of new faces a chance to spend a lot of time together on the road. It's a good bonding opportunity. He reflected back to the preseason, said that Toronto FC, they intentionally during their preseason training camp spent some time away from home, specifically for that reason, to try to develop team chemistry and a good bond. Really the theme, not just from that part of our conversation, but the conversation overall is for Toronto FC is you just can't get caught too much up in the highs and lows of things. In Mohammadi's own words, you just have to roll with the punches. It's part of this level of sport. The Young Reds have been good with rolling with the punches so far today. Flicked ahead there by Max Murray, and now building is NYCFC. Flashed inside. Coded well defensively once more. Fisher was in on that action. You could say that for a lot today. Reed Fisher's been in on a lot of action defensively for Toronto FC. There's Murray now. Looking for that diagonal ball across. The layoff inside from Kerr. Curled in, wanted the head of Musu. Toronto FC, they spring forward now. Racing down the flanks with it. It was DeMar Dixon, and at the last minute knocked out a play by Max Murray. That's one of those areas that Matt Pilkington and NYCFC feel like Murray has gotten even better in now that he has one professional season under his belt. His ability to track that ball back, his physicality, his on-field awareness, all of those on display there. A potential goal-saving defensive effort. And now here's Jackson Gilman, the former Pitt Panther. He's handled most of the services today for Toronto FC too. And Gary Gutierrez, before he crosses that one in, wants to have a chat inside with Cooper Flax and company. that's been sorted out. Gilman swings this one out. First contact made by Murray. The layoff back to Gilman via Fortier. Now he'll stand up across. And that one cut out by NYCFC. Musu dragged down from behind. And that will be a whistle. In spite of the physical play in that first half, 11 combined fouls, we did see just one card handed out. It's been a solid day in the officiating category for Gary Gutierrez. Did a good job of keeping this contest under control. What has been, at times, a real spirited affair. Kerr surveys. Now Kerr will take a step inside the defender. His cross headed away initially. Falls back to Sunic. The 2 second half substitutes, Sunic and Havadam connecting. Pigeons go centrally with it. Rolled through. And a foul given. Free kick on the edge of the 18 coming for NYCFC. Toronto FC, they've done a good job of stymieing NYCFC through large parts of the match, using that rigidness and their narrowness shape-wise defensively. But that time, NYCFC too coming right up the middle, and their efforts are rewarded with quite the promising opportunity here. Pigeons a season ago, they weren't spectacular on set pieces. They had 4 corner goals, but no goals converted off free kicks. Pilkington and company will look to Cooper Flax, who shadows over top of this ball. Flax, the effort, pinballing toward goal, and it's batted out at the last minute. Pigeons moving quickly with it off the ensuing corner. Knuckley was just somehow able to get a fingertip to that ball. Now second one served back in. Toronto FC desperately trying to clear these lines at the moment. Here's Flax now, options all around. He'll take it himself. Deflected back to Musu, helped back inside. NYCFC 2 pleading for a handball in the box. Gary Gutierrez wags the finger and says no, and it ultimately results in a Toronto FC 2 throw-in. Some real frantic moments there defensively for Toronto, but as has been the theme today, bend but don't break. It's a good effort here from Flax just to win it back high up the pitch. That right there, that deflection, is what NYCFC 2 thought was a handball inside the penalty area. There's Knuckley now, strong in his distribution. Knuckley, the native of Quebec, his first season in a Toronto FC 2 shirt. Was signed in the offseason. Now here's Havadam. Havadam's cutback pass, cut out. Now we'll swing this one to the back post. Promptly headed away by Toronto FC 2. Helped back along though by Drew Kerr. A much better effort to start this second half out if you're NYCFC 2. Really moving this ball side to side. And starting to run Toronto FC ragged. This cross flashed inside. This portion of the match is brought to you by St. John's University, the official undergraduate partner of New York City FC2. Knuckley taking a bit too long with this goal kick, admonished there by Gary Gutierrez, and now we'll boot that one forward. Back on it though is NYC FC2. Still pushing for that first goal. They're up to 7 shots on the evening. Still searching though, not just for that first goal, but their first shot on target as well. It's been a real stout defensive performance for Toronto FC, especially once they shift into this low block here. Not allowing much in terms of space and time to create for New York City Football Club. That ball goes out across the far touchline. Change of possession will occur via this throw-in. Now another whistle, this time a foul against NYCFC. In just 3 matches time following this, NYCFC will make the return trip to Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and York Lions Stadium. Turned upfield here, racing forward looking for Flax, and that ball just overhit. In large stretches of this contest that NYCFC have had momentum underneath their wings, and they just have not been able to capitalize on it. That time, Kevin Pierre muscled down. 57th overall pick in this most recent Super Draft, former Georgia Southern center mid out of the Sun Belt Conference. Pigeons set up with a free kick, another in this attacking half. Continuing to stack the opportunities up. The real question is, can they make something happen with those? The answer to this point has been no. Flax lobs this into a crowd headed toward goal, and it whistles wide of the near post. It'll stay here though. A corner coming. Musu back in the mixer, deflecting around, headed toward the crossbar. And there is Knuckley again. First, it was the free kick. A dangerous service for Flax that forced Toronto to head that one out. And then Musu on the ensuing corner. This, the first shot on target of the evening, coming courtesy of the header on goal from the academy man, Henrik Vodum. Toronto FC 2, meanwhile, readying a trifecta of changes. Luca Costabile will come on for his first appearance of the evening, 4th appearance of the season. The former Maryland Terrapin as Kervon Kerr, one of the 2 goal scorers this afternoon, his evening is done. Campbell Dennis looking for a release option here on this clearance, and he finds one. Able to take some heat off as we have crossed over that hour mark played here in Queens. Still the 2 first-half goals, the difference maker for Toronto FC, who just recently made a trio of changes. Stabile coming on, Abundance Salalu joining him as well. And Elias Kodri, the native of France, also trotting on. First appearance in a Toronto FC2 shirt for the aforementioned Frenchman Kodri. Young Reds with the throw in. They have not spent as much time in this attacking half as they did in the first 45 minutes. Stabile looking to remedy that for Toronto FC2. Now they'll funnel it back forward. Salalu. There's Fisher now. Back to Salalu. Wanted to work that out wide to Gilman. Foot stuck in. It's one back here. Bank on it now. He has one today. Still Bank. Cut across the area. Oh, what a finish! Minutes after checking on, Abundance Salalu tacks on his first of the season. 3-0 Toronto FC. It all starts with the press. They're able to knock that ball free off the giveaway. Gilman up ahead to Fletcher Bank, who has had quite the evening. 2 assists to go along with his goal. And the finish, even better. The 23-year-old Ivory Coast native, Abundance Salalu. One of those new faces for Toronto FC2. Extending the lead for the visitors.
Substitutions in the 65th minute, coming out as number 92, Lucas Epiniam. He replaced number 81, Sebastiano Musu. Number 91, Yuri Dice, also came in, replacing number 50, Adam Pierre. Los cambios de New York City en el minuto 60.
Following that goal as this one swung out wide to Havanum. NYCFC2 electing to make 2 more changes as Oriel Zeitz, Lucas DePino will both come on. First appearance of the season for the aforementioned DePino, just 17 years old. Here is NYCFC2. Out comes Knuckley to sprawl on top of that one. This portion of the match is brought to you by Adidas, the official kit supplier for New York City FC2. Quickly back on it is Toronto FC. Elias Kodri, former New Hampshire and Gardner-Webb collegiate player, out on the pitch, roaming around now. Worked on to Zeitz, former Michigan Wolverine. Vodham, this time operating on the left-hand side. This path cut off by Reed Fisher. That is what Reed Fisher does so well for Toronto FC. He's done it time and again when they've tried to play those balls in behind. Just uses that big frame of his, 6'3". Three goals this evening from three different goal scorers for Toronto FC 2 as we have some confusion here for the Young Reds on where to take this free kick. Oh, that's been rectified. And Gilman will thump it back down. Two first-half goals Toronto FC 2 do. Fletcher Bank, curve on Kerr, who has since subbed off, scored in first-half stoppage time. Now here is the aforementioned Fletcher Bank, knifing around defenders. Bank turning, Bank rolling it ahead. Here's Kodri. Kodri! The goals keep flowing in Queens. This time it's Elias Kodri scoring. 4-0 Toronto. He saw Abundant Salalu and said, anything you can do, I can do it too. That is a spectacular finish off the right foot of Elias Kodri, the Frenchman. Accounts have been opened all across the evening, and Kodri joining in on that. And of course, another assist for Fletcher Bank on the night. It had been such a frustrating start offensively to 2026 for the Young Reds. Just 2 goals scored in their first 3 matches combined as we have a whistle. That lid on the net has been lifted this evening for Toronto. Goals 22 minutes apart in the first half, and even quicker now in this second half. Their third and fourth of the day, just 4 minutes apart. It'll be Flax with the service. Lofts this ahead, quickly headed away by Gilman. Helped back along, inside. He wanted Sachecki. It was a bit behind him, and now Sunic will reset things all the way back to Mac Learned. Learned now playing very high and very aggressively. One thing that even going back to last year, and is a core tenant under Matt Pilkington, who's the longtime manager of this NYC FC2 side. They do love to get their keeper involved in build-outs. They want to try to use him in distribution. Here they are on the move now. Cross from the left side. It came from Drew Kerr and immediately cut out. Kerr again, this time able to find DePino on the end line. DePino dispossessed, but it will stay here. And NYCFC will have another corner. But no shortage of those this afternoon. This is their 4th of the fixture. Flax lofts this one to the near post, and again, coated so well defensively by Toronto FC 2. Didn't didn't score a ton off corners last year, but their set-piece defense was always so stout. Gave up just 2 corner goals in 2025. Back comes NYCFC 2. Laid off, Sacchetti, back to DePino. And once again, DePino dispossessed there on that end line. Fantastic effort from Jamari Nolan. Now turned upfield here. In on goal is Fletcher Bank, and he makes his mark. It's a Toronto FC onslaught in the second half. Their 3rd of the half, 5th of the day. This is all set up right here in the center of your screen by this phenomenal effort from Jamari Nolan, able to fight through defenders, ultimately worked upfield to Fletcher Bank. It's a brace for Fletcher Bank to go with 3 assists. Already the opening day of the match week. And that man right there likely has locked up player of the match week honors. Fletcher Bank has had a hand in all 5 goals tonight for Toronto FC 2. The 3rd goal for the Young Reds in an 8-minute span. It has completely changed the complexion of this second half in Queens. NYCFC 2 left searching for answers here at home. And at least on this trip into the final third, they won't find answers. Good connection to Kodri now. Kodri tripped up, and that will be a whistle. This portion of the match is brought to you by Etihad Airways, the official airline partner of New York City FC 2. Toronto FC 2, as good of an offensive day as it has been. 5 goals from 4 different goal scorers, and they have their eyes on perhaps a 6th. It has started on the defensive side. They've come out in this pressing shape with the 3 at the front, that 2-3 style pressing shape. It's caused NYCFC 2 some issues in terms of breaking it down, wanting to be progressive. But also when NYCFC 2 have gotten into that attacking half, Toronto FC, they've been narrow in their shape and they've congested things. And that mid-block has just not made life easy today for the Pigeons. It goes back to a point that this coaching staff made this week about what they felt like was a key to victory today for the Young Reds, being disciplined and connected defensively. They've done that all evening long. And they've been able to turn that quickly into offense by getting out on the run in transition. Back inside, here's Flax now, hesitates. Still Flax. Trying to take on one too many there. Now a hefty challenge in from behind and a quick yellow handed out. Oriel Zeitz will go into the book. Bank coming up with it in the center of your screen. And Zeitz trying to go for that ball, instead getting the ankle of Fletcher Bank. That ball goes out. Toronto FC 2 will have another throw in. Some issues with the distribution there for Knuckley. Stabile able to corral that ball in. And now deflected out across the end line by Sucheki. NYCFC 2, they have had their opportunities to the tune of 9 shots, but only one of those has found its way on the target. Shockingly so, they've spent a lot of time, when you consider they have just 1 shot on frame, they've spent a lot of time in the attacking half. Almost 170 passes completed in Toronto FC's defensive half of the pitch. But you see that number on your screen there. 7 shots on target for the Young Reds. They've been cohesive defensively, and then when they do get in possession, which haven't had a lot of it, only 39%, they have been ruthless in front of goal. Toronto FC 2 preparing what represents their 4th change of the evening, as Jamari Nolan will exit and the Toronto Academy man Tristan Blythe will come on for the 3rd time in 2025. Rather, 2026. So hard to believe that we're already into a new year. Sunic able to connect with Cooper Flax. Flax again centrally over to Sunic. You see all these numbers that Toronto are committing back defensively. This low block has caused NYCFC 2 some real issues. This one cut to the back post on the service, and out it goes. Zakarian Knuckley will have another goal kick. The former Toronto FC first team trialist. Such a fascinating story he is. Big shoes to fill in place of Adisa de Rosario, who played, to say the least, the lion's share of the minutes in net for Toronto FC 2 last year. Knuckley, he trialed with Toronto FC first team at their Spain preseason camp, was signed in January of this year. 17 appearances last year in Ligue 1 Quebec. NYCFC 2 will make another change.
Substitution in the 81st minute, coming out as number 52, Kieran Smith. He replaces number 75, Drew Kerr. Cambio de New York City en el minuto 81, entró con el número 52, Kieran Smith, por el número 75, Drew Kerr.
One thumped up and behind, no one on the receiving end of it. Closest player to it was Sucheki, the former Northwestern Wildcat. The substitution made moments ago by NYCFC 2. Kieran Smith, the young academy player, coming on. Lobbed over toward Knuckley, who flies through the air and makes that grab. Goes Gilman, and down goes Cooper Flax, which will draw a whistle from Gary Gutierrez. Up ahead, keeper comes off his line, has no choice but to move this one. Lucas DePino had a wide open net, just couldn't win that foot race. And now, what looks to be bad news for Toronto FC. Zakaria Knuckley going down immediately and trying to flex that right arm. Off the free kick, NYCFC 2 had snuck in behind that high line of Toronto FC 2 right here. DePino, 92 in blue, and you see Knuckley came out. And as DePino was charging toward goal, they get their arms locked up. And you saw Knuckley clad in orange there get turned just a little bit, and that's the same arm that he immediately, at the top of your screen, sits down and starts trying to stretch out and flex. Training staff out to assess the status of Zakaria Knuckley, who this will be his 4th appearance of the year. He's already kept a clean sheet once this season, in line for his 2nd. NYCFC 2 trying to spoil that, though. And this contest, one that, especially in this second half, has quickly come apart for NYCFC 2. Trying to end it on a bit more of a positive note. Flax dodges one tackle. Here's DePino now to Zeitz inside, still Orioles. Zeitz tapped toward goal. It's cleared off the line. Try as they might, the Pigeons just cannot find the score sheet. This is a great setup here for Orioles Zeitz. Just sliding through a host of white and red. Still could not finish, though. And NYCFC 2 stays goalless on this Thursday evening. Meanwhile, Toronto FC 2 using their final change of the evening. Daniel Stampatori, the 21-year-old out of Ontario, will come on. Both teams now out of substitutions. Toronto FC 2, should this scoreline hold up, it would be a stellar response to their winless in 3 start to the campaign. As coaching staff had said, it's going to take some time to get all of this new on the same page and together, but they were very high about the team's prospects. They feel like they have good quality in the attack. We've seen it on display this season and this match. DeMar Dixon, Jamari Nolan as well, and of course, you have a guy like Fletcher Bank performing at the level he has performed at today. A brace with 3 assists. You really start to see positivity in the future for the young Reds. Out will come Mac Learned, who slides to grab that one. This is the kind of performance that Toronto FC you're going to want heading into next week's match. Their next contest, a home fixture, finally home at York Lions Stadium. And who do they get? The hottest team in MLS Next Pro, Crown Legacy, on April 12th. NYCFC2 will have the throw in. Already 14 goals scored by Crown Legacy in 2026. Fasha Berkimas has 3 and an assist this year. Rodolfo Aloco, 7 goal contributions, including 5 of his own. I mean, you just look all around that team, and there's so many attacking options. This one lobbed into the 18 by NYCFC. And again, dealt with well by Toronto FC2. Flax will serve this back down the pitch, and no one will catch up to that for the Pigeons. Aforementioned Crown Legacy team coming off a 3-0 clean sheet last match week against Inter Miami 2. And of course, catching all kinds of attention with their 7-2 win over Huntsville City just 2 match weeks ago. They'll be in action against Atlanta United 2. Will kick off Saturday at 7 p.m. Make sure to tune into it on OneFootball and the MLS Next Pro website. There's OneFootball, the new home for all things MLS Next Pro, an exciting new partnership inked in the offseason. Murray will flip that one ahead. Oh, well timed on the challenge defensively. Dislodge that ball. Pigeons will go back to the well, though. Molinari funnels it wide. Here's Flax. Cutting through the heart of the defense. Had to give it up. Now to Murray. Murray, the switch again. Back to the weak side. Served in toward the penalty spot. But too heavy of a first touch there from Zeitz. Gave just enough daylight for the clearance. Now Murray helping it back along. Here's Vadam. Sacchecki, Molinari, Flax looking for the combination, edge of the area, and instead it's turned over. Kieran Smith will be shown a whistle there from Gary Gutierrez. And Toronto FC2 trying to salt away these final few ticks of the clock as we come up on the 90th minute. Comes Knuckley. Knuckley with the clearance. 3 minutes of stoppage time, according to the 4th official. And Toronto FC, that means more time to perhaps add another. They come back down and they earn themselves a corner late. They have been relentless. The work ethic and the effort put in today is exactly what this Toronto FC2 coaching staff are looking for out of this team. They feel like that work rate's been very high this year. They've been unlucky in some respects. They've been very lucky today in terms of taking advantage of all the opportunities that they've been given by NYCFC2. I have to feel good about this kind of performance if you're Gianni Cimini and this Toronto FC2 coaching staff. A good one to build on if you're the Young Reds. Raekwon Campbell-Dennis coughed it up. And now NYCFC2 will try to move things. That has not been an easy task all evening. Pigeons just about 90 seconds away from being handed their first loss of the season and left still searching for their first victory in 2026. Ball ahead, this is DePino. Fisher going to ground, didn't get all of it. Some help defense there from Stefan Kapoor, able to thump that one out of play. Ahead, bottom. ICFC bunching up a bit on that right-hand channel. Inside, here's Flax now. Inside a minute to go until the full-time whistle from Gary Gutierrez. Ahead, headed down by Havadam. Looking for Sunic on the end line, can't corral it in. A goal kick given. And that'll do it for NYCFC. Very likely their last push to seek that elusive goal. It's escaped them all evening long. The whistle sounds, and it's all over in Queens. The Young Reds of Toronto FC2 avoid a winless in 4 start for the first time since the 2023 season. A statement of victory for Toronto FC2. And quite the performance from that man in the center of your screen, Fletcher Bank. He is tonight's man of the match, presented by Adidas, and deservedly so. Notches his first goal of the year in the 24th minute. He would find another goal in the 72nd minute on a breakaway here, just a defensive lapse. He'd chip in 3 assists, had a hand in all 5 goals tonight for Toronto FC2. Massive day at the office for the Young Reds, who improved to 1-2-1 on the season. For our entire broadcast crew, I'm Jake Griffith. Once again, our final score, Toronto FC 5, NYCFC 0. Don't forget, you can watch MLS Next Pro all season long at MLSNextPro.com and OneFootball. Good night from New York.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.